Hello. All right. Today I'm working on fixing a bunch of Nintendos to I use them on events, and these blinking light winds are nice, but they make it impossible to get the cartridge out of the system. So people think like they're not allowed to change the cartridge or it's stuck in there, and that's just as unhelpful as the console not working. So doing some work today. I'm cleaning the pins. And I made a weird little modification that I figured out, and it seems to work okay, and I'll show you what I'm doing. So first off is my main event system that I refurbed here, and let's see. All right, you see that? So there's joust coming on, and there's a really, these have the lockout chip cut, and I pulled the pins up on the 72 pin. So I'll show you how I'm doing it. And there's an interesting problem with this one. Let's see if I can replicate it. There we go. Okay, so I haven't moved the cartridge, and it's in there completely. And if I push reset sometimes, either I get that screen or sometimes it works. So I've cleaned all my cartridges pretty extensively, so I cannot figure out why it's doing this. That sometimes it would just give me the blank screen, and but I just push reset. I don't even move the cartridge, and it works again. So that could have something to do with the lockout chip. I really have no idea. So okay, so I'll show you the modifications that I've been doing to the consoles, both the lockout chip and there's a new mod that I came up with myself to deal with the springs on this thing. So again, my goal is to, just have Nintendos where, people can use them on my events without thinking like it's broken or they can't get the cartridge out of the system. So if you haven't seen this one before, this is the lockout chip on the NES, and this is no secrets or anything. This is nothing I came up with or invented. This is the lockout chip right here, and so the fourth pin is the one that you have to cut. And all you have to do is cut the pin, and the chip is disabled, and nothing bad happens to your system. I've heard that unlicensed games might not work anymore, but I don't have any unlicensed games, so I don't know which games that are back or whatever. So 1, 2, 3, 4, this is the pin right here. And if you ever need to know how to count the pins, this little dot right here says this is the front. This is the front of the chip right here, and at the left is always pin number 1. So this is pin 1, 2, 3, 4. So all you have to do, you have to move these resistors or these capacitors out of the way just a little bit. Bend them very slowly and very carefully, because you can bend them without breaking the legs. Obviously, we don't want to break the legs, because then that'd be a whole nother little project here. I'm just bending them carefully to be out of the way. And same thing with this little guy right here. Just bending him. And just going to take regular pliers here. And let's see. This is not obviously the optimal way to do it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, double check what you're doing. And once you get one nice little cut, you can kind of finagle it from there. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm making sure what the heck I'm doing. And yeah, you can even cut the top of the chip. So basically people say, just make sure the leg is lifted. How are we doing here? Okay. Yeah, and again, just don't apply too much pressure. Okay. Yeah, we're good. We're almost there. Okay. So the other thing I figured out today, so I'll finish that a little bit later. Okay, so this is a 72 pin from another one of my Nintendos here, and you can see it's a little rough. So the bottom pins, these don't ever get moved or bent because they're just always grasping onto the circuit board. Here, I'll take it off real quick. So first we take off, this just slides off the plastic tray. Now we got the board and this thing. And this, once it's unscrewed, it just comes out real easy. You know, just do it slow, side by side, just be careful. So, to clean to clean the contact part of games and the systems, I use this stuff called Brasso that I saw on YouTube. There's people on YouTube who say don't use this stuff. I don't really understand why. I've been using it for a long time, and as long as you're not an idiot and you don't leave it like caked on your project, you know, you're going to be fine, at least from everything that I've seen. So either you could just like pour a little bit on, or you can pour a little bit on a Q-tip directly, and yeah, you just, you know, just move it like back and forth a little bit. And see, look at it, the crud just like comes right off of it, pretty easy. And then after I've like scrubbed it pretty well, obviously, you know, you don't want to leave any of the stuff on there. So I'll take a dry Q-tip, scrub it some more, and obviously this is going to need a lot of scrubbing. This is pretty dirty. I just got 5 Nintendos from a garage sale, untested. All but one worked out of the box with some finagling. So obviously I'm gonna clean them and do this NES lockout chip on all of them. See, so that's already like pretty gross. So then I'll take, once, we'll pretend like I've done here. I take rubbing alcohol and just, once I've kind of, you know, done my thing, yeah, obviously you want to get all the Brasso off, and then I'll rubbing alcohol scrub it. And you're also not supposed to go side by side. Again, when I clean these things, I have so many things to clean that I just need to do it as fast as possible while doing it safely. I've never had any problems, you know, scrubbing these sideways with any of my systems or any cartridges. So I'll leave it up to someone else to tell you why you're not supposed to do that. You're really supposed to go, you know, like this, one pin at a time. But again, that like perhaps literally might take me forever with every game and every system I need to clean and go over. So that's how to clean. Obviously you do this side and then you do the front side. So I've seen videos saying you should take sandpaper and run that between the contacts on your systems to clean the pins. I've never needed to do that. The only thing that I've really ever needed to do for the original Nintendo is if you just lift the pins. This is the main thing to get your NES like working well. You just don't have to spend like $40 or whatever, you know, after shipping on a like blinking light win. It's fine, but if you have the capability to open up your NES and like, you know, replace the thing, it's not that much more work to, you know, and this is free. So I took a safety pin, just like a regular safety pin. I made a little hook out of the end, and this is like, how many inches? I don't know, a couple inches. This is like a bigger size safety pin. It's not like a super tiny one, because that way you get a little more, this is a little more heavier, so I can move the pin without like damaging it or anything. And so here, I'll get a good view a little bit. And yeah, it's hard to see in there and everything, but it's probably hard to see, but the pins in all these, you know, obviously no one's ever done these on the, you know, the worked on these 72 pins before, and these NES has just been sitting around for a long time. So you just get your little hook underneath each pin. So again, I don't even worry about this bottom row, because what the problem on the NES is that, you know, on the American, or I guess the European one too, like this is what screws up your Nintendo by putting it down, you know, putting it down into the toaster. That's what bends the pins on the top. So since these never move, outside of, cleaning them with some rubbing alcohol, the bottom row is fine. It's the top pins that get bent. So you never really have to buy a new 72 pin or buy a blinking light win. So let's see. So now I've already lifted it up like a little bit. And yeah, just be very gentle, but just lift it up a little bit. And even from the shadows here, from the shading, you can tell that the pin is raised a bit. And that's all you really need to do. You just want to raise it up a little bit. And if you accidentally pull this out, just get a little pair of needle nose pliers, and yeah, just get a little pair of needle nose pliers, and just clamp down on it a little bit, and you can pull these pins back a little bit, and then clamp down on it, and it'll kind of regain its original shape. So the main thing is you can lift the pins. Yeah, just be careful with it, but it's okay if you lift it up to the roof of the connector, because there's another one, so it doesn't take that much. Yeah, but just the important thing is you got a little, make a little hook out of your pin, and yeah, like I said, lift it up a little bit, and then you just go down the line. And it's okay if you bend it up a little bit too much, because when you insert the cartridge over and over again, they're all gonna be level, eventually, basically, by just putting the cartridge in and out, in and out, in and out. The pins are gonna get level, and the space is gonna, even if you made it a little too tight, the space is gonna open up by just virtue of putting the cartridge in. You put the cartridge in, it's gonna bend the pins back, to basically a uniform shape. So yeah, again, that's all you really have to do to maintain your Nintendo. And you don't need the RF shielding on the bottom. I got a whole thing over there, so you can just put these back when you're done, when it's all clean. Just make sure you're putting it the right way. Yeah, so just put him all the way on, like I said, and then you'll put, you'll slide this part on over it. So that's about all you have to do. Yeah, I just wanted to show you really quick what I do to maintain my original NESs, and kind of get rid of these blinking light wins. Like I said, they work better. They're not 100, despite what they say, they're not 100%. And it depends on your cartridges too, obviously. You got to keep your cartridges clean, but yeah, they're not like a magic device that'll play like any NES cartridge. They still, even with a relatively clean cartridge, they can still have little problems. So, the last thing I wanted to show, the main reason I wanted to even do the video today, is this new thing that I found, and I will show you. Okay, so these springs on the side here. So the point of disabling the NES lockout chip is that you don't have to you don't have to put it down into like toaster mode anymore. And you don't want to do that anyway, because that's the thing that bends your pins. So I wanted to find a way, just like the blinking light win, which doesn't, have a toaster mode. It has no spring to go down. That's part of how the springs are the pins are never going to go bad. But I wanted to do something similar with just this regular thing. So I just, I'm always trying to figure out a solution that is just, found stuff that I have on my, from my desk, or something cheap or free for me to do. And it's fun to do that kind of stuff, because you never know what you're going to discover. So this is what I discovered, and it seems to work pretty well. So again, once you have the lockout chip disabled, you don't need to ever, put it down into the toaster. So therefore, you don't need the springs in these things. So the spring just comes right out, and obviously you can put the spring back in, pretty easily. But what I figured out just today, and it seems to work, very well is, oh, what size is this? This is an M4 0.7 metric screw. Doesn't have to be this size, but this seems to work. So I just put a little nut. I put a little nut on the bottom here, and what's the length of this? The length is 22 millimeters. So the length is probably more important for you. So this is, again, this is a little bolt. And again, the point of this, I don't want it to go down into the toaster because that bends the pins. So check this out. Like, I put my little pin in here with a nut on it, and this is as far as it will go down, just with this thing here. And even if it flops around a little bit, it doesn't matter because the connector cannot go past that. So now I'm gonna have a bunch of NESs where I don't have to put it down into toaster mode. I don't have to deal with the blinking light win, which is an extra cost, and you can't get the frickin' cartridges out of the thing without like pliers. You know, again, you just clean everything and bend the pins back at your 72 pin, and these things should last, you know, till the end of time, as long as you're maintaining them like this. So I hope that was helpful. And again, this is the only cartridge that is doing this weird thing. Let's see if it'll come back. Yeah, see, so there's different, I was looking this up today, different NESs have different color codes. So I think the gray light, I don't want to speculate, but basically you're gonna have different color codes when you disable the lockout chip, because the lockout chip is not a factor. The only factor is the cartridge's connection to the console. So one of my cartridges is a yellow screen, and this one for some reason is a purple screen. I read that is the same thing, just different NES models have a different color code. So this is the only cartridge I can get that will do this, is this used copy of Joust I just got and cleaned the hell out of. So for whatever reason, I'm not moving the cartridge, but I just pressed reset a couple times if it doesn't work, and now it works again. So like, that's weird. If you have any idea why it might be doing that, let me know. But yeah, I thought that might be helpful since I just discovered something new today. So I hope you enjoyed that and my Shining the Holy Ark soundtrack during the video, because yeah, I love Sega. It's one of the best RPGs ever, and you should play it, or at least download the soundtracks. It's fantastic. That's it. Yeah, I'm gonna be making more videos about how I maintain my consoles, since they really take a beating, being on special events where hundreds of people can play them. So it's a lot of fun to learn to fix these myself, and you know, hopefully I'm making my grandpa proud, who is an IBM lifer, got me into games, was the first person to ever show me to clean a NES cartridge with rubbing alcohol, which back in the cartridge says you're not supposed to do. So I thought he was like killing my games, but he was right. So that's it for this one. And again, this was yeah, how to fix your Nintendo for life, basically for free. So hope that was helpful. See ya.